Professional. Today, and I'm
Hello,
gonna
hello. What
hi.
is up,
Let me
everybody?
just remove myself. Today we have look at this. We have Rodolpho. Yeah, make yourself pretty.
So before we jump into it, Gigi, because I
Yes,
know we just like to take a deep dive. First of all, we're going live in the studio.
we are.
Live in
Okay,
effect.
live in effect.
Yes,
And for starters, we have to thank Rodolfo Miller. So
right.
Rodolfo, thank you so much for sharing your studio. We hope to continue to put out videos from
That would
here.
be
We
great.
hope to
Yeah.
be as productive as possible and as informative as possible to try to bring you guys the latest in real estate. So
So
we're unwrapping it.
yes. So let's talk about Rodolfo 1 second, right?
Sure,
Because
let's do it.
Rodolfo is a very well-known mortgage specialist in the Nassau, Suffolk, Queens, Brooklyn, basically all five boroughs
Yeah.
and the Long Island,
Yeah.
right?
Nine licensed in 9 states.
Nine,
But yeah.
Nine
But yeah.
nine
states.
states. On top of it, he has this setup because he has a broadcast, right? So you have a broadcast. I think we can probably put up the link later on in our comments. You want to talk
Yeah.
about that 1 second?
Yeah. So my podcast is called Change the Culture. We had a few episodes during COVID. I lost my some of my film crew.
To
But
COVID? No,
no, not to COVID, but
Imagine.
their services, their services.
It's like, oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, listen, we talk about everything: mindset, finance, and legacy.
Yeah.
Really trying to impact the underserved communities. Obviously, my background been in lending 17 years.
Right.
Also been affiliated with real estate for about 18 years. So my extensive background in that, and also in history. Just really talking about the stuff that has really impacted, society and
Yeah.
how we try to change it. And it's all about mindset, getting your mind right, getting your finances in order to create that legacy.
And culturally, I don't want to sound like the a-hole white one.
Oh.
But culturally, there is, and as a foreigner moving into these countries, I've seen that there was a lot of lack of education in what is called those so-called underserved communities. I'm being very careful with the words I'm using because
Yes.
I'm gonna probably put my foot in my mouth again, and I don't want to do that. And I feel it's important because yes, you don't need 20% down to buy a house, and you don't need a 750 credit score and $2.5 million in the bank.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I mean. Kind of, it's a segue to what we're going to be talking about
Yeah.
today, because it's very important to understand what your goal is, and a lot of times with people like us on this platform
Mhm.
is to really reach out to professionals that are putting out content and that are trying to get you to have a different mindset of buying real estate and understanding. Hey, listen, just the things that you might be hearing, or if you Google, you might think that you have to have a certain amount of down payment. You might think that people don't have programs for you, and they say you're not the perfect borrower, maybe have less than perfect credit, not that much assets. Listen, there's grants out there.
Mhm.
There's banks like mine and others that work with less than perfect credit scores. The main thing is just getting the mindset that you're gonna, don't try not to rent that long. Sometimes it's necessary.
Right.
But listen, at the end of the day, we want to change, especially as much as we can, to the underserved communities, minority communities, to understand. Hey, listen, the importance of owning, so we could change the social landscape of just society, just in general.
So this reverts back to the actual segment that we had last week. This is also a great training for our agents out there.
Mm.
We were talking about owning versus renting, and in the end, owning beats renting any time of the day,
Hands down.
regardless of any articles you can read.
I'm
the
glad you
notes, yeah.
actually brought that up, because I had an interesting conversation with a potential buyer yesterday, and as we were going through the qualifications of co-ops, you guys know co-ops are very
Yeah.
strict in what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So as we're going through that, he almost felt that, you know what, I'm not going to qualify to buy anything. I feel like there's nothing I can buy. I might as well just go rent, he told me.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
I said, don't do that. I said, I know what it sounds like, but now there's value behind you buying. Like we spoke about it last week, right? Tax benefits, you lock in how much you're paying in rent.
Lifestyle.
You know what I mean?
Altogether.
Like you're literally paying the same payment for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you decided to leave, and if you purchase the right place, you can rent it out. use that as rental income to then purchase the next
Yeah,
property, right,
yeah,
Rodolfo?
Yeah, I mean that's what I going back to mindset, finance and legacy. You have to understand the importance of owning real estate, and
Right.
don't get me wrong, a lot of times you have to rent until you can own. Or I always tell people, if you have the opportunity of having great parents, live there until you can buy something. I always
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, I always promote
Right?
that.
Love you,
And,
parents.
and nowadays millennials and
They like living in basements.
they're staying a little bit. They're staying a little bit longer. But
it's not by choice. I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
But
you know
I mean, because you have to look at these apartments. How much of these
Yeah.
apartments are? Even though, I know COVID might have in certain
A
areas
little bit. But
lowered it a little bit.
Yeah.
That was the first time in history that rents went
yeah.
down a little bit. But historically, you get a nice rental in a nice neighborhood, your rent's going to go up in the next few years.
Yeah,
It's not going to
absolutely.
stay the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Your payment's not. As far as a mortgage, it's going to be more. You're going to get a tax deduction. You get write-offs.
See,
But right now we're starting to see some people like that, that are going towards co-ops or going just in this competitive market and are experience sometimes some what they call fatigue in the market and stuff like that.
Yes, which
buyer's
we
fatigue.
don't agree actually, and I
Yeah.
love that we were able to bring Rodolfo because he's not a yes man. He's gonna tell us what he thinks.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
like
there
that.
was last
Hold on,
week-
before we kick it off, we're gonna because here's the
Hold
thing.
on, I need my menopause is also kicking on. I need to take off my sweater.
Hold
Just
up.
a sweater.
Can we
Hold
get
on.
this real
Yes,
quick?
go ahead. I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm like,
Okay.
is that okay?
That's fine. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was gonna ask. You just completely threw me off. But what we want to do is we want you guys to engage. So if you have comments, if you're a realtor that's out there working on the grind, working with buyers, and you feel that the buyers are either being a little more reserved, or
if you're a
you might-
buyer,
if you're a buyer, or if you feel that you're kind of struggling, or if you're not going through that, you know what I mean? But
Or
definitely comment.
if you're a seller
Or if
and
you're a
you've
seller.
experienced a little bit of shift lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit why we were thinking of doing this segment, because I went away for 10 days only to come back to a couple of deals where the offers that went through inspection and stuff like that backed out. Go back to inspection, backing out. And I'm
Wow.
like from beginning of July to beginning of August, I'm also noticing that the participation at open house diminished quite a bit. Like back in May, there was 200 people waiting online. It was like a rock concert. You would have like $3 worth of
Jeez.
line. Your 2-hour open house would be a 4-hour thing under the rain, no rain, doesn't matter. They were there. Right now,
Not the same.
we're still lucky. We're still seeing 20, 30 groups and so on and so forth. But in a lot of the less desirable items, like a 1-bedroom co-op or studio, you have 2 people showing up.
Yeah.
And the offers, you're not going to have 27 offers. You're going to have 3 or 4 offers. And you're lucky if you have those.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's up? What's going on here? And I saw something in the New York Times along with other reports from Keeping Current Matters telling us there is a little bit of shift of interest from buyers. Some people really want to hold off and they're experiencing what is buyer's fatigue. Do you want to put up? What is this?
This is an article from the Times that you were referring to.
Where is it? That's the one.
This is advertisement here, but I don't
Why
know
do
why
we have
it's-
the advertisement?
Wants me to log in and
Sure.
no, milady. You had it here, and I don't know where it went. So welcome to our live segment. We are here in the studio, and as you can see, this is completely different from what we're used to. So bear with us, guys. We appreciate you guys being here.
This is what it was. All right. A standard presentation, and we're gonna do this. So here goes this article.
There it is.
Yes, from July 23rd, which is should we go? I'm not gonna read it.
You don't have to go through deeply.
Just wanted to actually give you the examples of this couple in Utah that actually decided to go on the market back in the winter time, and they started offering making offers,
Mm.
starting, end of the winter, beginning of the spring. So excited. They were making offers, $6,000 over ask. And
Wow.
got beat where the actual accepted offer price would be $60,000 over ask. I'm going to speak in
Wow.
the mic. All right. And they go on and they're saying that they would come see houses where there were 54 offers. All right.
Yeah.
And they went through, I don't know how many, they went on 70 house tours.
Wow.
Okay. Each time they went through, none of their offers were accepted. They did even
Jeez.
$35,000 over ask on one instance, and they got ghosted by the not only the agents, the seller and all. And this is not only buyer's experience. I was talking this morning to other agents where real estate agents make offers and never hear from the listing agent ever again.
Yeah. I mean, I would say from my experience, again, from dealing with a lot of different agents and buyers, it's definitely something it's valid as far as their feelings, but, the actual meaning of fatigue as far as like, hey, they're not going out there or for example, I think some surveys might say actually it might be it might be waiting or a good time to wait. I think that's foolish. So I mean, to me, it's when you see a lot of competitiveness, it's all psychological and it sucks. So if you're out there, if you're looking and you're getting discouraged, I would just say, hey, listen, get with a great agent that's going to really submit your offer and make it look as presentable as possible. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Right.
It's just to get more detailed about it is that, you really need to follow up with people like us that are going to really, or we could point you in the right direction depending on what market you're in. But it's important.
Right. Because I mean, you have, okay. And I'm more of a listing agent than anything. And unfortunately I see offers that a lot of times don't even make sense. Like the contract deposit, whatever is left over for down payment, don't add up. The proof of funds they're sending have nothing to do with anything. Sometimes it's not even the same person.
Yeah.
There is no mention of a gift.
Yeah,
and sometimes I don't even know who the agent is.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of lack of education that is hurting the consumer.
Yeah. So we all know that. Listen, there's
Right.
how many hundreds of real estate agents do you know, and how many, I don't know, are probably producing. So that's the same thing. So if you're just going to, hey, listen, I'm going quick on Google or on Zillow and this and that, you're not really doing your research on the agent. And then you're not saying, you're not providing them with a lot of information. So I tell my agents that I try to mentor, hey, listen, make sure when you're sending that offer, it's sparkling. Obviously, like you have a first page of the credit report. Right. The first page of their bank statement, block out their account number,
right.
A letter about what they are, because you never know. We were talking about this the other day. For example, I deal with a lot of veterans and I take pride in helping them, but a lot of times it's very frustrating because a lot of the market pushes back at it because they're doing 100% financing. But there is a lot of patriots out there that might want to know.
Mea culpa. I've been guilty in the past, and please forgive me. Like you're gonna have 25% offer, and you're gonna have a 100% loan, and sometimes you're gonna go, oh, maybe that loan is a little bit higher, but it's 100%. I don't really get it. And then I've been accepting VA loans lately, and I'm really glad. And I think there was a sentiment of pride sometimes, and like gratefulness for working from sellers working with a war veteran, working with somebody who was in the armed forces, and really being grateful and thankful and say, you know what, the VAs, I'm gonna actually accept their offer over the next guy because that person deserves it.
Yeah,
it happens. I'm not saying all the time.
When it comes to sellers, I think again, I always like to change people's mindset when it comes to stuff. Because listen, if the value and the money is equal, whether you have an appraisal issue or not, you're gonna have the same issue whether it's 25% down or 10% down or 0% down, unless you have some type of appraisal contingency, which a lot of buyers attorneys won't let you sign. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, if it's one of those high-end properties, and some people say, listen, I'll pay that extra and they'll be fine. But a regular entry-level home, most buyers attorneys will say, no, we're gonna negotiate when that appraisal comes in.
Yeah, I wanted to go back over that little slide just to remind everybody the realities right now of what a lot of buyers are experiencing is fatigue. They're like, okay, we're just gonna wait out. Let's not do anything. Let's wait until the fourth quarter of the year. Maybe things will open up. So yes, we're having record price appreciations all across the country, all across the board. Extremely low inventory in pretty much the whole country as well. Record high percentage sales over list price. Yes, you're getting, over ask most of the times, and record low days on the market. Not everywhere. In Queens, we're having a little bit higher days on the market. And of course, those low mortgage rates are going to, I feel, stick around. Yes, call him. Stick around a little bit. So yes, let's talk about, you felt like those data, the data that was put out there into the media, especially at the end of July, talking about buyers fatigue is a lot of fluff to you.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
I truly think it's fluff. And I also do think that a lot of it's psychological and a lot of it is, I think, misplaced. So what I mean by that is a lot of times they take surveys and they're talking to, forgive me, buyers out there, people that are somewhat ignorant of the market. So they might be no. Well, ignorance is it's not really a bad word.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said it because not for nothing, that is the truth. That is I deal with buyers that reach out to us and they want to look at properties, but they don't want to go through the qualification process. They swear they qualify. They swear they're in a position to buy, and they just want to look. And I think that if you start like that, these are the individuals that are probably going through the buyer's fatigue right now, because they're the ones that are looking for something that's up here.
And they're lowballing.
They're lowballing everything. Every property they like. They're like, no, like this is how much I want to give. And it's like, no, there's 20 other offers that were in here, and a lot of them are close to asking, if not over.
I've been telling agents, again, because I'm on the listing end side. I'm on the listing end. I tell buyers agents, and I tell them all the time, they're like, how much can I offer? Just give me numbers. And I can't, it's unethical. I can't. I don't want to be unfair to one offer versus a guy. Sorry, my friends and stuff. So sorry. So all I can tell those guys is, please go back to the comparables, the latest comps.
Yeah.
Even if you're not gonna have data on the sales price of something that went on the market. Days on the market from the time it was listed to the time it went on the contract is going to give you a good indication whether or not this went over us.
Yeah. See,
and I would tell agents, just take a look at your comps and get me your best educated guess.
I think the best thing, not only from the agent's perspective, but literally from the buyer's psyche perspective, is that, listen, we all understand why you might feel fatigued, because I know for a fact if I was a buyer out there, I would be very pissed off with, hey, listen, I came in, I bid 20K more. I saw 10, 15 homes. I'm not getting the offers. Don't get me wrong. I always tell people, just like in life, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. On top of that, make sure that you're preparing your realtor as much as possible. Do not think you know it all, because at the end of the day, we have a license and we're professionals and we have reviews for a reason. But flip side, what the media is trying to say is that people are waiting. And I think that, don't get me wrong, there is a large amount of people that are, and I think that's a big mistake. I think if you're doing that, like Gigi already said, we have historically low rates. Yes, there's low inventory, but early bird gets the worm. If you go out there and you put your best foot forward, you will find a house, and it will be the house that's meant for you to live in. Right. And reality is that we don't know where interest rates are going to be in 6 months. We don't know where the market's going to be in additional few months. I mean, if the inventory stays low, the prices are going to still maintain to be high. So say, for example, I had a client that was in contract, somehow got out of it, whatever, not to get too much in detail of it. But they told me, hey, we're going to wait a year, and, they're potentially going to, maybe lose some money or whatever. But to me, it's foolish, because, all right, okay, great. How much you paying rent? They actually were paying a decent amount of rent, like, I don't know, $2,800, whatever. So it's pretty much what a mortgage payment would be. And I'm like, all right, listen, what's the cost of you waiting? As opposed to, oh, well, we're turned off with the process because a problem happened. I'm like, well, listen, you're going to lose $10,000 to $15,000 a year just in a mortgage tax deduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to also lose the amount of equity that you would have built up within a year,
Yes.
and then you're going to lose the amount of principal that you paid off within a year also. So this decision is costing you $30,000 in 1 year.
Based on basically like you're going to wait for the price to go back maybe by a couple of percent, and you're going to lose thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't make sense.
It truly doesn't.
Yeah.
So
And-
here's one thing that I've actually been mentioning to a lot of people. And again, Gigi, I know you said you've been doing this for 250 years now. All right.
257.
257. Jesus. I swear it was 250 like a month ago.
No.
All right. So this is what I've actually been telling some of the buyers, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the people that are, again, feeling the fatigue, maybe they're not taking the initial steps. They don't know what they actually qualify for. They just believe that my credit scored 750. I make the money. I have some money to put down. No big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People
All
I realize, there's a lot of people that are educated, but unfortunately, like a lot of people think ignorant is a bad word, but it's not. It just means that you
it
don't
just
like
means
the
that
knowledge.
you just don't know.
You don't
Yeah.
like.
I find, and unfortunately, when I have direct buyers and they're like, don't worry about the qualification. Don't worry about the pre-approval. Like,
Like what?
You know how many people have?
I
You know how
don't
many
know
people
about
have
this
200
one.
grand of student loans, and they
Yeah.
think, oh, it's on deferment.
Yeah.
That
Doesn't mean
guys,
you're not
that
paying
doesn't
it.
mean anything.
Right.
The banks look at it. They do a calculation of 1% or a 0.5%. You have
Mhm.
200 grand worth of loans. We're gonna have to use that debt, even though it might be on deferment. You might have to pay the student loans only $10 a month, but the bank's gonna look at it as in that you would have to pay them
Actual-
$1,000 a month.
Yes.
It used to be 1%. It used to be 2,000 a month. They just recently lowered it for FHA loans.
Wow.
But just a little thing like that, and also, there's data out there. Out of every 5 consumers, out of every 10 consumers, there's 6 that have errors on their credit report that they don't know of. So even though you might have pristine credit, you might not realize that somebody did identity theft years ago. It usually is somebody in your family, and
Unfortunately.
took out a credit card, you have a collection, or you moved.
truth.
Like even myself, listen, I've been a mortgage professional for a long time. The 2 times I moved were the only 2 times I had collections because of I can't say a company name, but
You just say
a company that
Yeah,
rhymes
yeah.
with Ryzen.
Oh.
And I know.
I think I know the company.
but
and they're difficult to deal with.
yeah, but I'm just saying, just in general,
you're
like I didn't
lapsing
know.
yeah.
It's literally was just internet service, and
Right.
I paid my bill. I left. I didn't return my router. I forgot, but I had a $75 bill that dropped my points 100, dropped me down
and
100 points.
To collection.
Went into collection, but I didn't know until I was buying another property.
And that's
I was
when
like,
you
oh
found
crap!
out.
Don't get me wrong. I know ways
You
of getting
fixed it,
around
yeah.
stuff. I fixed it, but still, I'm an expert, so I didn't learn how to fix it. Some people
Yeah.
that might be the end of the world. Like, holy
Yeah.
crap! I'm a 650 now. I have to get
And
a rate that's at
That's the
0.75%
fatigue.
more.
That right there is where they're like, oh my God. Like the thing is that they don't know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? They didn't speak to the
Right.
lender. And then to top
But
it off.
not all lenders are the same.
That's
You're
true.
Not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have,
But-
you're gonna have guys like Rodolpho that are gonna go the extra step and
Yeah.
tell the buyers here you can actually fix your credit by doing
Correct.
such and such. And if you can do it, let me refer you to this guy that I work with, and so on and so forth. So that will, but a lot of them would just do qualifications based on what they see and not based on what could be
Yeah.
the next billing cycle around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also going back to the fatigue part, like we have people that don't do the basics, like what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Say if you have somebody who has some tight qualifications, making sure that you send an offer with a DU, which is a desktop underwrite, or an LP, which is loan prospector.
Okay.
Come in and
You know,
define
which
it.
is again Fannie or Freddie Mac, which is a conventional or FHA type of deal. Ultimately, making sure that they're running that automation, which is a computer generated underwriting system.
So for buyers, that might be a lot confusing because all those letters you're throwing out,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, desk underwriting is a
Desk-
computer
desktop.
automated system.
yeah, with
Desktop.
through
No,
Fannie Mae.
No
Yeah.
English.
Well, go ahead. Desktop underwriter.
No English. No, not beautiful. So desktop underwriter, automated program that everybody goes through, but then and then the computer will tell you basically what you qualify
Yeah,
for.
as long as you make sure, like for example, don't get me wrong, and now other realtors out there, there's a lot of mortgage bankers out there. So like Desktop Underwriter really analyzes your credit.
Okay.
And what you import as far as the income. So some, lack of a better word, jerks, you know, sometimes
Shady.
and it's shady.
Shady.
Shady's the better
Shady.
word.
Crooks.
Yeah.
Will put elevated income that isn't truly their income just to
Yes.
buy time. So that could happen too. But again, if you're a good agent, don't just say, hey, listen, send me the DU. I would say, send me a pay stub and the DU.
Yeah.
Because that would say, okay, I can verify, we could do math. Hey,
Yeah.
they make 3,500 every 2 weeks. Okay, great. They make $7,000 a month. Look at the DU, see what income they have in there. Okay, they didn't lie about the income. Then everything should be good, copacetic. And then you have a copy of the bank statement, which shows you. Flip side, sometimes somebody might say, listen, they have 40 grand, they're getting a gift, 20 grand from the mom. That's depending on the realtor, whether you want to believe them. If anything, you say, listen, send me mom's bank statement, first page, black out the account number if you want to do your due diligence. We're here to help you guys if you need help with how to, you know, investigate your buyer and even sellers, because I think sometimes that's even more important too. If you're trying to if you're trying to help them buy their next house too,
Yeah.
you should be trying to build a file so you look like that top line, you know, agent, top line mortgage banker. And that's what's important to really, you know,
Right. Well, I
really
like when
unwrap it.
I like when the
Yeah.
buyer's agent is
Segue.
really open and tells me, yes, please talk to my buyer's lender. They'll give you the whole situation with the gifting and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you already feel more comfortable once you know you have a structure offer and you know the situation. It's always good. Always good.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, so I wanted to get back to that buyer's fatigue that I'm experiencing it on my end on the listing side a lot less. Still a lot of showings, don't get me wrong, but a lot less than a month and a half ago. And what I wanted to put some little pointers out there, like for buyers and agents, and I'm directing this to buyers, and I have to put my glasses on. Don't be discouraged by the lack of inventory. This market, of course, can be frustrating, but waiting for more options isn't the solution, like what Rodolfo was saying. The best thing is to push through. Those mortgage rates and home values, yes, are both on the rise, meaning buyers who will wait will end up paying more in their monthly payment years down the road. And you have to think of the big picture. You can't think of, oh, I'm frustrated now. Let's get in. We're gonna probably get a little bit more houses in September, October, hopefully. Let's go through this. Keep bringing in your offers. Don't get discouraged. And then when you present an offer, don't go $100,000 on the ass just thinking you can still try to get a deal. It's not happening.
You're wasting your time.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to go all in with your offer. When you're an agent, talk to this buyer and tell them to bring you their best and highest. Oh no, don't go with, let's start with that and see where this is going. You're
Oh
going
my
to get
God, I'm glad you
pushed
said that.
down at the bottom of the pile. I think so.
That's
right?
key. That's
Right.
key.
You also
need
might
to-
not get no responses too.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
no. Here's
Yeah.
here's the thing. Whenever that
Crickets.
comes up, you actually have to try to get that number. What's the max? Now you have to make them understand that you're on the same page, you're on the same team. So therefore, I need to understand what your max is. You know what I mean? And with that, I'll try to negotiate as best deal as possible. But at the end of the day, if it's a hot market, if it's something that's flying right off the shelf, one day on the market, open house, there's a line and a half outside. You're not going to come in and lowball somebody 50,000 under asking price, because that's just not going to make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not even gonna counter you. They're just gonna tell you, is that your best and highest? And if you say yes, okay.
Yeah. And then flip side, I mean, Gigi said it earlier, like flip side, you see some scenarios that where you've heard from other agents, not probably you guys, because you guys know how to present an offer, right? But plenty of agents that are fairly new, like, oh, they didn't even respond. Well, I'm like,
Right.
well, how did you submit that offer?
Yep.
Well, I sent the
Right.
pre-approval on the offer.
Right.
Well,
Wow.
what was the
It's
pre-approval
not
from?
enough.
You know, it's from ABC Mortgage. Well, you know what? Or you know, it's from Rocket or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
people want to deal, especially in the New York market. We're not Utah. People want to deal with, number one, local bankers.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to call them even at 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
So if you're working with somebody that they can't reach them after 5 o'clock, they probably won't accept your offer.
Right.
And there's a little intricacies, but like, again, if you're not giving them the story along with extra info,
right. So I would suggest, and I'm going to talk for everybody out in the country, and not necessarily what we're practicing in New York, because I'm not seeing a lot of escalation clauses, but this is more outside of New York. They're doing it a lot. So make the strongest offer you can, and that's going to be maybe your highest, earnest money deposit. The least contingencies as possible. Again, appraisal contingency being a big one. I don't think attorneys here in New York like that very much. Consider offering over ask or writing an escalation clause to be competing offers. And this usually can do with your agent. We're not going to go over that today.
Oh man, I was just about to ask, can we define escalation clause for the individuals that are out there?
You can put terms in your offers, like with the listing agent, and say, we're offering this, and then we can go, at this point, you're going to have the freedom to just go an extra $15,000, $20,000 from when we just offer, without having to wait for the seller to counter. So you can different terms. You can, yeah.
So to simplify that, it's basically, for example, if the property costs $500,000, you're willing to go up to $550,000, but you're not submitting $550,000 off the bat. Yeah. You're submitting $500,000, and then if anybody comes in and brings, let's say, $501,000, your offer would increase either $1,000, $2,000 until it reaches its
whatever
max.
You're going to put in your offer and discuss with the other agent. You just want to. My opinion is just to go strong. Yeah. Don't even wait for that.
Because I was going to say, now maybe the reason it's not happening here is because, and I'm not saying
time for the bullshit.
Yeah, not just that, but let's be honest. I mean, if you're a listing agent, and I'm not saying that New York City, we kind of look for the money, but it's
we are.
Yeah, it's okay. It's nothing personal, strictly business, right?
Right.
So with that being said, like, if you got an offer with an escalation clause attached to it that they were willing to go $50,000 more, how do you respond to that with the other offers? Like, now knowing that, are you now presenting that offer?
You could have an escalate. You can have also another clause with like a partial appraisal contingency where you say, we can cover up to $20,000 if the property doesn't appraise. We're willing to put an extra $20,000. Whatever clause you want to put in that to make the deal sweeter. And again, we're not going to teach the buyer's agents how to put offers together. That's another topic. It's probably a 5-class topic. You can sweeten the deal, and as a buyer, you should be able to have an inspection, for instance. You may not say, I want to waive, I want to have an inspection.
Yeah.
But
it's not contingent.
It's not going to be contingent upon the inspection.
Correct.
I mean, the good thing is that it's always done prior to contract. So worst case scenario, when buyers that are scared of that, you could still back out.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, back out of the whole deal.
You can't.
If the house is a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I'm saying worst case scenario.
I've seen also like crazy story actually yesterday. Not to mention any names of agents because I don't want to insult anyone.
Come on,
but that
what's your name? Tell us.
That agent trying to come in way over ask. And I'm telling her I have all those offers and this and that.
Her.
And yes. And she's telling me, and I'm like, you can have inspections, but ultimately it's going to be an as-is. She goes, what if the roof is not good? And I'm like, I already gave you information about the roof and what we did prior to listing the property. And this is not a new roof, but we addressed the immediate problems. We had our other inspection and stuff. She goes, but what if the roof is no good and we want to got a credit of $30,000? I'm like, hold on a second.
What?
You're just giving me a verbal offer at that much, and now you're starting to chew away at the price.
So here's a nugget. Here's a nugget for you agents out there. Don't go submitting offers and then try to negotiate before the contracts are even out. Like what? Like, you're not even, if you start doing that, that's an automatic dismissal, right? Is that not an automatic dismissal? Like I can't even, I'm already scared of working with this guy or girl.
So I thought this offer seemed too good to be true. And yes, it was too good because she started to say, what if this? I'm going to need a credit for this. No, we're not. that price
As
is
is.
the
As
price you're
is.
giving me is as is, and should we accept it, we're going to contract with that price. I
Yeah.
have enough offers in the
Yeah.
back, maybe a little bit lower, but where people are not going to nag about everything to
Yeah.
get $2,000,
Exactly.
right? Anyway,
Did this person, I'm just curious because I'm always looking for ways to get around these things, right? Like the right question to ask the agents to try to pull information.
Mhm.
That's how I am.
you know, I feel I don't like the word feeling because I don't operate off a feeling, but I think
I don't believe that.
looking at this agent's work history, she's been bouncing around,
Mhm.
Oh,
and I don't think she has the mentorship and the education and the support that
structure.
she deserves. We all as agents, we deserve to have that. So unfortunately, that's why she's trying to do her best with what she knows.
mm.
I'm not blaming her,
Yeah.
but you know, I'll try at a later time. I'll try to come and see if we can help her. I would love
Listen,
to be able
yeah,
to help
maybe
her.
Part
she'd
of
be open
part
to
of the
constructive
big part of what we're talking about, to be honest with you, for the buyers out there, and not singling any agent out, just agents in general.
Yeah.
A lot of the buyers' fatigue is because of unprepared agents,
Yes.
and that's really the moral of the story.
All right, we're done.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
So I just wanted to keep on going. I'm not gonna go over a lot of things. So as a buyer, even like probably if you've been burned out with all those offers, not even looked at or not counted and stuff like that, update your wish list.
Yeah.
If you've lost on previous offers, reevaluate your wish list. You can increase the number of potential homes by broadening your preferred neighborhoods, or simply consider like homes that need a little bit more updating.
Mhm.
So what do we mean by that? Those have less competition. All right, it's like a turnkey home
There it
is
is.
bound to have basically, thank you, multiple offers with escalation clause in some instance, and their experience is selling. Those are selling in mere days, in like a couple of days a week on the market.
Yeah.
And then check for back on the market or back to active listings. Because a lot of agents forget about those. You're getting the contract, things fall apart, and it's back
And
on
you
the market.
forget about them.
Yes. So
You don't even
go
look
back
to them.
to back on the market listing. Ask your agents if they don't know about that to set you up on a search to those back on the market listings. You know, and you never know, something may have happened to the buyer, and now those sellers are probably more flexible because now they really need to sell, like, and there is less competition. You know, the other agents are just looking at what's new, what just came up. Let's
Yeah.
just try to get in.
They're not
Mhm.
looking at
Look
what
at
already
that.
came
You
out.
know, go to for sale by owners.
Yeah.
Look at expired listings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, most for sale by owners are willing to pay a buyer broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
look, they're willing to pay whoever. They're even sometimes these guys will come in and say, I'm only gonna pay this amount. That's it. And
Right.
then, but believe it or not, guys, you can submit offers and you can actually get paid more than what they're willing to pay you. If you're worth it, if you provide value, you should get paid. You know what I mean? But like you were mentioning about the buyers and the sellers and looking at, active listings, expired listings, things back on the market. I've actually been telling a lot of the buyers that I've been working with is you're looking for a dream home, right? Everybody's looking for that dream home. They want a nice home, nice kitchen, nice bathroom,
Make it your
everything
own.
nice. Yes, that's the key. But the
Yes.
problem is we're dealing with a lot of individuals who don't want to take the time out of the day or say, hey, you know what? That potential job can take 3 months to complete. I don't want to go through that. I just want to move in and drop my bags. But in all reality, we've already gone through the market. You see the newest property that's renovated flies right off the
yes.
shelf,
Yeah.
doesn't last long. And then you have these older properties that people are just chopping down the price, right? So yes, I tell them you're looking for a dream home, but in all actuality, that might not be happening right now. Yes, you're looking to purchase for personal reasons, but at the end of the day, you have to look at this as a business. You're purchasing a property, you're minimizing.
It's
I
hard
know
to
it's
tell
hard.
them as
I
a
know it's hard,
business.
but
It's
the
really
thing
hard,
is, like you said,
you
right?
know.
You got to take fall in love with the place, but you have to visualize it. Now, your agent, and this is what I believe, your agent should be creative enough to show you what what you can potentially turn that place into. Number one.
If they're open, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I mean, if you want to live like a gypsy for 3 months,
it's not about living like a gypsy. Here's the
Yes,
example I want to give.
have you been in a house where you actually move in and you have 1.5 years worth of renovations because you're trying to juggle the I mean,
yeah,
but sometimes it's reality, like you said. Yeah.
Funny story.
Yeah.
Bought my place January. I closed on it January 9th, 2020.
Yeah.
Started renovations, and then I was like, oh, I'm almost done. Let me just move things in. I moved in 2 weeks before the shutdown took place.
No.
And then we were still waiting on additional stuff. It was the most interesting way to live.
Like
right?
gypsy. That's what I'm saying.
My wife was like, she was having a ball.
Camping.
It felt like that, but it felt good. You know why? Because at the end of the day, it was our place.
Exactly.
So we didn't care about how long it took.
Exactly.
We didn't care about how much it cost. We didn't care that the kitchen needed. No. I mean, yeah, I cared clearly, but if you had the money for it, do it.
But understand you're putting into yourself though. That's the whole thing. Like you're putting into your net worth. You're putting 100%. Into like every time you spend money on your house, depending on as long as it's not maintenance, you're contributing towards your net worth.
Yeah.
100%. Flip side, when you buy that car, when you are buying, frivolous things, you're not. That's why I always talk about mindset.
So I want to bring this up because I'm glad, Rodolpho, you're here. And my question was, I mentioned to some of these buyers, for example, if they qualify, let's just use a number, 500,000, right? But now that I'm showing them similar places that meet their criteria. The only thing is it needs an update. But what if it's $100,000-$200,000 difference, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe that same place could be selling for $300,000-$400,000. Let's just say,
you still have those 2 or 3K
right?
loans, right?
That's exactly what I mentioned.
Right.
You are in a position to borrow that kind of money. Don't look at it in the sense of I need to find the perfect place right here, right now, where I could just move right in.
Yeah.
Try your best to look for it. If you can't find it, especially in today's market, understand, be open-minded, and you have the ability to borrow that same amount of money. Just find a place, invest into it. Now you can build it to your liking.
Yeah.
Now it's all designed the way you want it to be. Because let's be honest, even when you take some of the clients into these places and they might be updated or somewhat renovated, they still walk in and say, oh my God, I have to do this kitchen.
Yes,
I have to do this bathroom. These floors I don't like these floors.
Taste specific. They don't like it. They will change it. So yes.
And then they want to cut the price on you on that.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been telling buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as far as the 203K loan,
English.
Correct. Sorry, I started speaking French and Spanish. You heard it come from the back.
203K.
203K. Right? That sounds better. So for all my bilinguals out there, 203K loan, is it if someone was to go from a conventional to a 203K loan, what is like a huge difference in that? Is there like a difference in the interest rate? Is there a difference?
Yes. I mean, good that you said that, because there actually is conventional construction loans too.
Okay.
So we do the home style, we do the 203K. So if your qualifications are good, you can actually do the Fannie Mae renovation loan too.
You have the decoration credit and you have the 203K. You have different stuff.
Well, there's two different Ks, but it's not really. It's more of like if your house needs light work.
Right.
So if you're going into a house, say for example, say it's not that much of a disparity. Say it's not 100K. Say the house is
30.
just, say the house is 50 or something like that, and say it's just crappy, but you can get approved for 100K more. And say for example, a lot of people, even myself, because the way I do mortgage banking, I don't really qualify people on their max budget, because their max budget, the max budget, this could be another show. It's really like the government almost sets you up for failure in a way, because if it's truly your max, it's so easy to go on foreclosure.
Right.
It's so easy, especially FHA.
Yeah, you can
so
have
easy.
So many contingencies.
Well, it's not that. It's like the max debt ratio for FHA is 57%.
That's very high.
So 57%, and this is all banks qualify you on pre-tax.
Real quick, because I know we're flying through the information. Yeah. So to clarify, that 57%, what is that? That's the debt to income ratio that the banks are looking at the potential buyers.
So that's all your debt and the mortgage.
Okay.
And that's everything within your payment. But that's 57% on the FHA. And that's why reaching out to the right mortgage banker, explaining it to you, could maybe potentially help you from not losing your house in a few years, because 57%, you should never buy that high. Unless, don't get me wrong, flip side, sometimes there's a husband, there's a wife, there's a cousin that's not on the loan, then that's a different scenario.
Yeah.
That we know that they're living there, we know that they're contributing. But if we know it's only these people, listen, this is pre-tax. So everybody pays Uncle Sam in between 15 to 20%. So now we say, all right, be nice. Give them, give it 10%. So that's 67%. And we don't count. We don't count your gas. We don't count your for your car,
your food.
We don't count your car insurance,
groceries,
utilities, groceries, and God willing, are you wanting to go out every once in a while?
Yeah, right.
Like so you're at 100%.
Rules are changing now, apparently. So I don't know if we'll be going out.
So I'm sorry, I digress. But again, with the 203K, there's two different types. You can get one that's a light, which is under 30K of work. The other one is unlimited. Depending on, hey, listen, you can't make it like Trump Tower. You can't have a gold toilet, but you can make it to your liking as long.
I like that you said that because Gigi always says golden bidet.
Yes.
She says the golden bidet.
Yeah, so like you can't. You have to do stuff that's going to increase the value. And most of the time, though, they'll do an appraisal as is value. For example, say it's 500K after approved value. Well, if you're doing a bathroom and a kitchen, if you're spending 30 grand, you probably will get 90,000 worth of value. Right. More than likely, depending on your finishes and whatever. So like you'll see your after approved value might be 100K. So you'll be like, oh wow, like so it's literally really worth it, yeah. So literally sometimes doing 2 or 3K, you can actually just gain equity. Yeah. But what I'm seeing even in this market, even despite that, like I bought in the middle, kind of in the middle of the market. I closed this year in my second home in Franklin Square, and
Congrats.
Basically after I bought it, I got it for a great price, but like I did some work, but right now, I mean, I could literally sell it for 80 grand more.
Yeah.
So
even after the work.
Yeah. Even I adjusted for the work. So reality is that listen. The guys that are thinking that it makes sense to wait. It doesn't. Because listen, for all those, don't get me wrong. People say, oh, maybe the market dips down. Even if it dips down a little bit next year, which I don't really think it will. I think if anything, it'll stay either stagnant, maybe a little blip down. But reality is that waiting, like I said, can cost you thousands.
I bought a house when the market was high, and people were saying, oh, you're crazy. You paid over ask. You're completely crazy. You paid over ask for the house. It's insane. But no, we lived in the house.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the house. We made improvement to the house. We actually like lived the way we wanted. We didn't overpay. We paid what we felt was worth it for us. And that's what I was fighting for with people. We got approved by the bank. And trust me, we bought with like low down payment. We have bought a 2-family house with 5% down many years ago. But we enjoyed the house.
Yeah.
And we still ended up selling it for almost double the price in a few years.
So look at that. That's what
exactly.
I don't really hear too many. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, people in the mortgage crash lost their shirt, or some people did. Right. But honestly, what a lot of people don't talk about is that the mortgage boom prior to the crash also created tons of millionaires.
Yeah.
So yes, there was a lot of people that got bad loans, that got bad loans and didn't do the right thing, or maybe really never qualified. So a lot of people are unfairly comparing that market to this market. It's completely different.
Right.
Because you don't have retarded loans like we did. And oh, I'm sorry.
Retarded loans.
That was not politically
retro
correct.
Loans. We don't have retro loans. He meant retro?
Yeah,
retro. We don't have retro style loans anymore.
Loans.
Like retro loans would be loans that were given out prior to the real estate market
we're
crash.
just sharing to a small group, and then it's by the way on my public Facebook page. Thank God there's a lot of French people who don't get it. It's okay.
Oh my God. So this whole time we've been talking to a bunch of French people?
No. No, we
got love in French.
They're out there watching.
I know
we do have a big viewership in
Vive la France.
Vive la France, yes. Those poor guys, are struggling right now. I gotta give it to them. Anyway.
Hey, they beat the USA team though, I think.
On what?
In basketball.
Are you serious?
I think one game. I don't know if it was exhibition though.
I know
it might have been exhibition.
Listen, let me tell you something. The French team, if you guys don't watch it, but there's that Beastmaster show on Netflix that's pretty interesting. It's supposed to be like American Gladiator, but to the next
Yes,
level
yes.
or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Like it's pretty nice. But they have a lot of people from different. I know we just
We're
completely
just
went off
going
topic.
away, off topic.
But
yes.
since we're talking about it, they have a lot of people there from different countries, and they have a France group that
We have
goes
a,
up
we have a
there. It's
local
pretty-
Frenchman on the Knicks now, Evan
you go.
Fournier.
There you go.
Okay.
Shout out. Viva la France.
All right, guys. We didn't have that many questions. Please feel free to write down your comments, your questions. We'll be very thankful to send them to Rodolfo's way. Also, I know we have not really put it out there, but should you guys have any questions in regards to partnering up with us, please feel free to call, to text, to email. All right. I'm going to give out my phone number. It's 347-432-5413. Please call me if you have any questions. Ed, what's your phone number?
What's up, guys? I'm Ed with NYC Homes with Ed. And I guess I'll give you my phone number too.
Yeah.
My number is 646-217-8119.
And
And
you
ladies,
can
he's
reach
taken.
Rodolfo. Yes.
And I'm married. Sorry.
Yeah, so
Happily married.
That's my radio voice.
Yes.
if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, I'm at R Miller Loans. Definitely reach out to me on that and DM. My number's public everywhere, 718-962-4781. Shoot me a text. That's probably the best way to get in contact with me. And if you have any questions about getting mentored for any, again, when it comes to buyers agents, sellers agents, how to put stuff together. If you're struggling out there,
We're here to help.
all three of us
Yes.
can help you.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. So
All
to
right, guys.
leave them off with any last nuggets, you guys gave some great information. So thanks again, Rodolfo, for letting us
Thank you so much.
borrow your studio.
and pick his brain. That was really
100%.
great. Yeah.
So just so you guys know, Rodolfo's office is located in Elmont out here on Hempstead Turnpike. So if you guys,
1717 Hempstead
there it
Turnpike
is.
in Elmont, across from the Home Depot.
Don't
Yes.
stalk me. I'm
There you
sorry.
So if you guys have questions about loans, curious about the different programs, I know we always deal with buyers and the first thing they hear are FHA and conventional loans, but understand that there's a lot of programs out there that might fit your criteria. You just really have to dig through them, go
Right.
through them, spend some time with your lender, and don't forget the agent. Spend some time with them too. They're going to
Talk
help
to
you
them. Give
put
them
it
the whole
together.
thing. Yeah.
They got to help you put it together. The more information you hold out on both your lender and your agent, the harder it's going to be for you going through that process.
And
And the more
agents-
fatigue you're going to get.
Agents
Yes.
out there, if you need help putting an offer together, I'm looking straight
Yes.
at the camera right here.
Right.
If you need help,
Can we zoom in? I think
don't
we can.
know.
Here we go. Ready?
if
Here we
you
go.
need help,
Right
we're
there,
here.
Gigi.
We can actually help you structure that offer, put it together. I'm going to give some of my free time to help you out. So please don't hesitate to contact
Wow.
us. Whether you're from the team or not, we'll help you out.
Wow,
All right.
Gigi, you're awesome.
That's
You're-
what we've been
You're
doing.
giving
all
back,
those
even
years.
though they're not a part of.
Doesn't matter.
I love that. That's why.
We got to help each other.
That's why we have a huge family.
You know what? The more we help each other, the more we make the needle move forward.
Yeah.
What's the expression? Needle forward, something like that.
I like the one that goes, "A rising tide raises all ships."
There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's
Listen,
good.
there's nothing better than giving back and
Yes.
to helping people because it always comes back to you.
Exactly. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
even if it doesn't come back in this lifetime.
Yeah.
At least I'll feel really good about
Yeah.
myself that I contributed.
In the next lifetime.
Who cares?
But it comes back to you. The universe blesses you in one other way.
Yes.
It might not be that
100%.
person. It might be something
100%.
else.
Listen, we said it before. Realtors, and I'm sure lenders too. We're all farmers at the end of the day. We're
Oh,
planting
wow.
seeds, right? We don't know
Yes.
where the crops are gonna grow. We don't know where
We
we're gonna
hope they
reap
do.
it from.
Yes.
We hope they do, but they might grow in different areas. You never know. So
Right.
always give out a lot of love. And I think that's a wrap, right?
That's
It's
all right.
I think
All
we're
right.
done.
We
Yeah.
unwrapped it, and now we're
happened-
rewrapping it.
What happened to our theme song?
Our theme song, we're gonna work on that because there's a lot more cables that we got to connect. But this time we just wanted to start off by again.
Can we
Can we do
show
acapella?
the?
It's Friday.
Can we
It's
show?
Friday again.
I'm gonna put-
It's Saturday, Sunday. What? It's Friday.
I'm gonna put
again.
myself
It's
back on
Saturday,
here.
Sunday,
Let me
what?
show you that
It's
setup.
Friday again.
There you go.
Look at this.
Look at this beauty here. That's
Showing.
Ed right
Yo, what's up?
here.
I'm on this camera.
Here you go.
Look at all these cameras.
All right, guys. It was really a pleasure having you
Yes.
today. And until next week.
Until next week.
Don't hesitate to also
Peace
send
out.
us whatever you want to discuss, whatever is close to your heart or you're
Yes.
having issues with. We'll be glad to discuss it.
Even questions. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. If you see us in public, we're not that famous.
I know.
All right.
Not
we're,
yet.
We're a
Not
little
yet.
bit famous, so you can still talk to us. You can still ask questions.
All right,
So
guys.
we love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your Friday. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
It's Friday again. It's Saturday.